Hey, Navisarites. Today we're going to look to see what Critical Drinker has to say about the new Penguin show. I saw it the other day. I liked it a lot. I wanted to pretty much see what the Critical Drinker had to say about it, see what his words are and his words of wisdom. If you have not subscribed to his channel, by all means, go subscribe to his channel because he makes some great content. And without any further delay, let's move forward on this.
Well, colour me shocked. I mean, who could have predicted that a spin off TV show about a periphery character from a moderately successful Batman movie would turn out to be an extremely well written, brilliantly acted, competently directed, and generally excellent crime drama with a complex and sympathetic protagonist, and possibly one of the best comic book adaptations we've had in years? Not me, that's for sure. The hype around the Penguin was basically non-existent as far as I was concerned, because I was about as enthusiastic for this show as I was for telling my AA sponsor that I'd fallen off the wagon for the third time. Today. And it was only through the combined recommendations of a few people whose opinions I actually respect that I finally sat down to watch the first episodes. And damn, I've got to admit, they pulled a blinder with this one. Unapologetically violent, gritty, complex, hard-hitting, and mature, the Penguin...
I'm telling you, this show is more like literally like an episode, like watching The Sopranos. That's how good this is. He's really good. Colin Farrell is crazy good in this. And again, I haven't seen a makeup job so good since I saw the Joker. So this is phenomenal.
Strikes exactly the tone I'd expect from a show like this. Unlike the MCU, whose laughable attempts at producing more grounded and realistic TV content ended up more like Tulsa King mixed with the Teletubbies, The Penguin actually feels like a show written by and for adults, starring actors who can actually act, and a script that neatly establishes its world and characters within a single episode. The show picks up right after the events of The Batman, with Gotham recovering from the flood that destroyed half the city, and the criminal underworld reeling from the death of Carmine Falcone. With his son Alberto struggling to fill his dad's shoes and his empire faltering, it seems like a power vacuum is developing in Gotham. And sooner or later, someone's gonna have to fill it. Enter Oswald Cobb, his former right-hand man who now has aspirations to move up in the world, and when he gets into a heated confrontation with Alberto one night, well, let's just say it doesn't end well. It's not long before he runs into a local gang member trying to steal his car, but rather than just kill him, Oswald sees something of himself in the kid and decides to put him to work. Heartwarming stuff indeed, but things soon go south when Oswald gets word that the Falcone family are moving their drug operations out of Gotham, basically cutting his business off at the knees. Even worse, Alberto's batshit crazy sister Sophia's been released from Arkham Asylum and clearly suspects that Oswald knows something about her brother's disappearance. But what to do? Well, rather than skip town, Oswald decides to stand and fight, working hard to play his enemies off against each other and bring down the Falcone Empire from the inside so that he can eventually take over himself. And as we soon find out, he's willing to go to some pretty fucking extreme lengths to get what he wants. As a character, the Penguin always felt like a weird, out-of-place addition in the Batman movie, awkwardly inserted into a narrative that didn't really need.
When I look at it and I see Christine Miliotti's character and I see how crazy she's playing that character, and it's like she's playing that character really, really crazy because she is literally, and then he's got his character, and yet none of them is stealing the light from the other. It's like the two performances really complement each other really well. I get really excited about this show because this show's really good.
Him and abandoned when the script decided it was done with him. The decision to smother Colin Farrell in enough latex to supply a dozen of...
Look at this. Look at this. The makeup job, I'm telling you. I cannot see Colin Farrell in the Penguin. And that is phenomenal because that literally transforms him into a completely other persona, which is phenomenal because his acting chops with the accent, nor do I hear him. It's like all I see is the Penguin, and that's beautiful. Thank you.
Of P. Diddy's house parties just to make him look like a fat, ugly, middle-aged man instead of hiring an actual fat, ugly, middle-aged actor was another bizarre creative choice that felt like it was done just to get another big name on boards. So like I said before, I wasn't exactly pumped to watch an entire TV show based around this guy. After all, we've had plenty of other Batman spin-off shows over the years that have ranged from pointless to obscure to downright abusive.
It will be. When it fits a woman.
And that's what this felt like. Just another spin-off show with no clear reason for existing that nobody particularly wanted or asked for. But the thing that the Penguin does so well and so efficiently is to get you invested in its protagonist literally by the end of its first scene.
It literally
A short
does.
conversation with the new head of the Falcone Empire really tells you everything you need to know about what drives Oswald. He's a man born into a hard and cruel world who was forced to become hard and cruel himself to survive, but there's also something else in him that sets him apart from his peers. He
I'm
aspires
telling you, the understanding that I got about the Penguin in this was far superior to any understanding that I've ever gotten from any material about the Penguin in the past. So really, the development of this character in this series is phenomenal and a very original direction. I love it. I love it. No longer do we see the weak-minded, the weak, soft Penguin that you've always seen portrayed in other characters. This Penguin does not come across as weak in any way, shape, or form. And we see his vulnerabilities as well, so it's great. It's like they gave him physical strength, but at the same time they gave him vulnerabilities, but again, not enough vulnerabilities to put him in a position where you really are not interested in looking at him and you're saying, "Ah, he's a piece of shit." No, no. This character literally is deep, and because of his depth, I want to see so much. I want to see more. I really want to see more.
to become something better, even if he's forced to become something worse in order to get there. He's a man handicapped by crippling disability who clearly didn't start with any advantages in life, but through ruthless cunning, careful planning, and sheer balls-out bravery, he's clawed out a place for himself in the world. And beneath it all, he's still very much a human being, broken and damaged by a tough life, and the little glimpses of vulnerability and humanity that we see are just enough to make us empathise with him. As he mentions at one point, he's learned how to make himself small so that his bosses can feel big around him, careful never to rise too far or say too much in case he paints a target on his back. And big props to Colin Farrell, who turns in what might be one of the best performances of his career. It would have been easy for an actor to look kind of laughable under all those prosthetics, but the strength of Farrell's performance shines through so that you kind of forget he's even wearing makeup after a while. And that's not to put down the rest of the cast either, who all deliver brilliant performances. Clancy Brown is always dependable as a menacing villain, but the real standout is Kristen Milioti as Sophia, who's highly intelligent, brutal, and always balanced right on the edge of madness. You really feel like she could do anything at any moment. She's a perfect foil for someone like Oswald, and it's going to be great fun watching them spar with each other for control of the city. In terms of plot and pacing, if you're a fan of the Godfather movies or shows like The Sopranos, then you'll be pretty familiar with the story beats at work here. It's your typical organised crime drama for the most part, lots of plotting and scheming, alliances and double crosses, family loyalties and bitter feuds, but it's all handled pretty competently, and for the most part, I didn't feel like events or decisions were forced for the sake of moving the plot along. Yeah, you could probably argue that Oswald choosing to spare Victor's life was a bit contrived, when it would leave him dangerously exposed, and he almost certainly has other men that he can trust at his disposal, but mostly I'd put that down to his more sentimental side getting the better of him. And in some ways it kind of makes sense for him to get someone outside the family who's completely insulated from all this stuff. In terms of the cinematography, one of the things I really appreciated about the Batman movie was the way it reverted back to the gritty, dilapidated Gotham City that fans of the comics knew so well. Compared to the bland, sterile version that we got in the Dark Knight trilogy and whatever the fuck Zack Snyder was trying to do, the Batman felt like just the right balance between grounded realism and the industrial gothic look of the comics, and that aesthetic gets carried over perfectly well here. It's obviously still based on New York, but run down and neglected, stricken by crime and corruption and decay. So basically just actual New York then. We're only one episode in so far, so it's a bit too early to say for sure, but for the most part, I think I'm pretty impressed with what they've managed to do with the Penguin. If I had to compare it to something else, I'd say it feels like the Netflix Daredevil series, something that used its parent movies as a jumping off point to branch off into its own self-contained narrative that's way more violent and mature than anything the movies could ever hope to be. And if that was their aspiration for this show, then well, hats off to you gentlemen, mission accomplished. Let's just hope you don't drop the ball on this one, because you have my interest so far.
Oh, you got mine too.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Go away.
This boss is so easy.
Go away. Go away. Go away. Oh, that was phenomenal. Critical Drinker, you are a genius, and by all means, if you like my response on this, by all means, like and subscribe below. Give Critical Drinkers a follow. Also, give Tyrone Magnus a follow because he's very good as well. And literally, he's inspiring me to do more reaction videos. So I want to thank you both, Critical Drinker and Tyrone Magnus. You guys are phenomenal. And again, if you like my reaction, like and subscribe. Hit the like and subscribe below. Please excuse me. And I will catch you guys on the next one, man. All right. Thank you and keep it up. Be blessed.